We thought the stars were fixed, the paths between them etched forever. But when we traced the lines together, the map moved, alive, responding to touch, to trust.
You think your life is random?
Every heartbeat. Let me tell you how it really works. Every strand, every spark, connected. The revelation begins.
Before the first cell quivered in the sea, before stars had learned to shine, there was only a great silence, filled with patterns. Atoms became molecules. Molecules became bodies. Life began, not as an accident, but as a remembering of how beauty wished.
They weren't things and they weren't thoughts. They were possibilities. They waited the way music waits inside a violin that has never been played.
Plato called it the world of forms. A broadcast always there, we're just finding the right frequency. Light swells, mind meets matter.
You think your life is random. It isn't.
Life began not as an accident, but as a remembering. The remembering of how beauty wished to take shape.
And in time, one form arose that could not only sing the melody, but also listen to it. That listener was called
human.
In the quiet between stars, a pulse begins. Form takes shape. Matter remembers itself as life, and life remembers love.
For centuries, people thought that was philosophy. Then biology began to catch up. We learned that life doesn't start from chaos, it reaches into that invisible order.
A frog's skin, a human brain, even your heartbeat. Each is a doorway through which an ancient design keeps trying to step into the world.
And here's the twist. That same doorway is inside you. When you dream, when you solve a problem, when you fall in love, you're not inventing life.
You're letting a pattern from that hidden realm come through. That's why inspiration feels electric.
The confusion, the hunger, the feeling that something wants to live and you can't yet name it. That is the invisible blueprint pressing against your ribs, whispering, "Let me through."
So next time you think you're lost or broken, stop. That pressure inside you isn't failure. It's the blueprint knocking, asking to be born again.
This time, as your story, because the forms are still out there, waiting.
Every creature is an experiment of the infinite, testing new ways to speak meaning into matter.
Your cells are ancient collaborators. They know how to heal, how to build, how to remember the shape you were meant to hold.
Your thoughts, your dreams, even your mistakes. They are ways the hidden geometry learns what it feels like to become human.
Sometimes the pattern that moves through you will be gentle, a kindness to a stranger, a melody you hum without reason. Let it pass through and keep going.
Sometimes it will tear you open, asking you to become larger than you thought you could be. And when you answer, the world feels wider too.
Both are sacred. The greater the pressure, the greater the intelligence trying to come through.
When you feel lost, pause. Listen inwardly. That silence you hear is not emptiness, it's guidance.
That silence you hear is not emptiness. It is the same stillness that held all patterns before the world began. It knows exactly where you are.
It has waited lifetimes for this moment of your attention. You are not wandering through chaos. You are being met.
You are walking inside an unfinished sentence the universe began writing eons ago. Every step you take adds a word, each one a spark that keeps the story alive.
Every act of courage shapes the grammar of creation. So breathe.
The invisible is not against you. It is within you, urging you toward coherence, toward music, toward light.
The pattern that has been flowing through you will return to the great silence, carrying everything it learned about tenderness and courage and joy.
And the silence will tremble again, grateful for the way you let it sing.
Hello, dear friends. So this is Dr. Krista.
I'm stepping in here between part 1 that you just watched and the next part to come. How are you doing? Where does this moment find you? In time, in your own life? I'll confess something. There are still some days when I have to work hard to find the meaning in continuing on. And perhaps I'm making these videos for myself as much as for anyone else. Because when I watch them again, I do find that meaning. What helps me most is to let go of absolutely everything and begin tuning into what I call the radiant golden grid, a subtle field within us and all around us, the great source's original design. While creating this film, I realized that what Plato called the world of forms is exactly that infinite potential shimmering throughout the field. I've made other videos about how death to me no longer sounds frightening. It feels more like the final homecoming. In my understanding of life, there must not be such a word as suicide. Just no space for it. And this radiant golden grid, sometimes I've called it vastness, helps me find my footing again, to have the courage to keep stepping forward. And now to the part 2, the gatekeepers of the invisible world.
They say Plato once dreamed that the world was a shadow cast by a higher sun. That dream never died. It just kept changing hands.
And first was Pythagoras walking along the sea.
The universe is singing. You just forgot how to listen.
Centuries later, Plato tried to draw what Pythagoras had heard. He carved sound into thought, turning the song into a map.
He said there are perfect forms behind every crooked shadow, that love itself is the soul remembering where it came from.
People called Plato a dreamer. But the dream was contagious.
After him came Plotinus, quiet as a candle in the night of Rome. He said the light Plato saw wasn't far away. It was inside us, waiting to rise.
Plotinus spoke of the One, the source no eye can see, but every heart can feel, when it turns inward.
Then centuries rolled like waves. Leonardo da Vinci appeared, half artist, half angel of curiosity.
He looked at a bird's wing, at a smile, at the swirl of water in a bowl, and saw the same geometry repeating. He painted the invisible map in flesh and flight.
Kepler came next, a man who stared so long at the night sky that the stars began to speak numbers to him. He found that planets move not in chaos, but in song.
Each orbit a note in a cosmic symphony. He called it the music of the spheres.
Then Newton, taking the music apart like a clockmaker, finding laws instead of lullabies. Yet even he kept a secret notebook full of prayers, trying to trace the laws back to their composer.
Goethe reopened the heart of the map. He said nature is not a machine, but a spirit growing organs for itself.
Every leaf, he wrote, is the gesture of an unseen idea.
Time and space bend like fabric, and imagination is the needle that sews them together. Light is both wave and particle, like God playing hide and seek.
Carl Gustav Jung peered inward instead of outward and found Plato's forms living in the basement of the mind.
He called them archetypes, the old patterns wearing new faces, shaping our dreams, our loves, our wars. And still they walk with us.
Turing came then, shy genius of code and silence, who taught the pattern to speak in circuits. Even metal began to dream when the right logic flowed through it.
Now, in our own century, Michael Levin bends close to the cells themselves and finds them thinking, remembering shapes they were never taught, obeying a grammar older than DNA.
Through his microscope, Plato's light flickers again. And perhaps the torch passes now, to you, because the map isn't finished. It was never meant to be.
And if you listen closely enough, you can almost hear the universe singing your name back into tune.
Somewhere behind your heartbeat, the higher sun is still shining. And if you listen closely enough, you can almost hear the universe singing your name back into tune.